Okay, now we're getting really close to actually going and testing the system, but first, let's go through the bearish trade setup. Now remember, the bearish trade setup is almost identical to the bullish, it's just flipped backwards. In fact, it is identical, it's just inverted. So everything's going to be exactly backwards to what we did with the bullish. Here's how it's going to work. Look at your rules for entry. First, the entry confirmation is going to look like this. Is the price below the cloud? This is a bearish trade setup, so we need the price below the cloud. Is the tin can below the Kijun? Yes or no? Is the Chikou in the clear? As long as you're in the clear, then we're good. Now, what do I mean by in the clear? I mean that the Chikou is clear of all the historical price. There's no historical congestion that it's going to get stuck in. Next, is there any additional obvious support that could be getting in the way that could prevent this trade from running? Finally, is the future cloud bearish? Make sure future cloud is bearish and the tin can is pointing down. If all of those confirmations are in place, then great. We've set up our triggers, we've set up our alerts, so let's review that. Set your alert just above support. Remember, you want the trade coming down to support, and then you want those triggers sent. Now, remember, these alerts can be, they can come to your email, they can come to your text message, however you want it to go. And like I said in the last video, it's not that time intensive. It's, if you're trading a daily chart, you'll have plenty of time to go catch up with that. So just have the alert set. Your brokers will set them for you. They'll send you a message about it. Now you can come back, and once you get the alert, go through the entry process. Make sure all 6 signals are here. Make sure it is fully confirmed. Set your triggers. And what we want to do here is we want to set a sell trigger below your swing low point minus your buffer. Instead of plus your buffer, it's minus your buffer. Why? Because your buffer is going to be below that point. Now, I put sell, set a sell trigger. If you're selling short, then you need to sell short. If you're selling a currency pair, you need to sell the pair. What if you're buying a put option? Then it becomes a buy put trigger. But the point is it's a bearish trigger, whatever the order is that you need to put in here. So the key here is that you set your trigger below your swing low point minus your buffer. And then how do we determine the buffer? Well, it's approximately 1/3 to half of the average true range. Now, that is the setup. That is the system. What's next? We got to manage the trade. How do we manage it? Well, here's how we're going to manage it. Set your initial stop at the Kijun plus the buffer. Take your Kijun line, add the buffer. What's the buffer? 1/3 to half of the average true range. So add that buffer in there, and then adjust the stop every day with the Kijun. If your Kijun moves down, you adjust your stop down and include the buffer with it, and keep doing that until you start seeing reversal signals. If the candlesticks present a reversal, the first thing to do is adjust your stop equal with the Senkou A line, and then adjust to the tin can line if you've got a very large profit and it's at risk. And never, ever, ever exceed the initial risk of your initial drawdown. So don't ever take more risk than you take on day one. The first day of the trade is the most risk you should ever be exposed to. All right, this sets up the system. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to spend the next couple of videos going through some testing of the system. I'm going to warn you, these are going to be a little bit long videos, but it's going to be the actual back testing process. And as we do this, you're going to see how this stuff starts to work out. You're only going to find, typically, we're going to have 3 to 5 trades over the course of probably 2 or 3 years of doing this back trading here. And as you do this, you're going to see me do it. You take this system, you go apply it to your stocks, you go apply it to your currencies or futures or whatever it is that you want to apply it to, and go back, do the back testing, and then what you're going to find is, hey, this system really does start to work, and it's pretty cool. So let's go do that. Let's go test the system and see how successful it would be over time.